Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Footy Show Daily, where we look at all the latest breaking stories from the footballing world. Roy Keane has been on today. He's done a show on Sky Sports talking about players' wages. He said that players shouldn't be forced into taking pay cuts at the top clubs. He feels that too much is getting made of what has been happening. Obviously, this was started by Matt Hancock, the health secretary. Obviously, he said there is pressure on players at the really big clubs with wealthy owners to take pay cuts. He said, the way I look at it now, particularly after the way I left Man United, I wouldn't take a pay cut for anyone if I was at one of the bigger clubs. I know there's pressure on players, it's nobody's business what you do with your wages. You take your wage, and if you want to be generous, go ahead and do it. I don't think players should feel pressured by clubs, particularly the bigger clubs, to take pay cuts. They've signed a contract, and your contract with a club is a personal matter. This idea that all players should take a pay cut, or that all players should have to do this, I think that is nonsense, and it is up to the individual. If you want to stick to your guns and say they want their full wages when you've got a billionaire in the background, do it. Don't be swayed by some sort of pressure from the media who writes lies anyway about certain players. And then it goes on to just labour on the point. But,
do normal, Roy.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously there's been a lot of pressure in the last few weeks, and I think this is one of the first times someone as vocal as Roy Keane is as an ex-player has come out and basically, gone sort of like the other way with it.
Yeah, I think it only really come out because the furloughing of staff, didn't it? So that was how it came into the public domain, really. Spurs, I think, were the first ones. And at the time, I remember thinking, well, hang on, you're asking people, you're either furloughing staff and you're asking people on much less wages, maybe 20 grand a year, maybe a bit more, to take pay cuts, while I'll use Harry Kane, because he's the most high-profile Spurs player, is on 170 grand a week or whatever they're saying. So why should the person who's struggling on 20 grand a week take a pay cut, but Harry Kane at the top of the thing not take a pay cut? That was why. It wasn't... we didn't come to it, or I don't think it would have been in the media had Spurs not have said we're furloughing staff and asking them to take a cut. If you're furloughing staff, if you're asking everybody from the owner, like the chairman, who's paid a wage, to the players, to the ticket office, to the cleaners, to the whatever, to all take the same pay cut, that's a different thing. But at first it was footballers aren't, yet the lowest paid members of staff are. And I think that's why it was in the domain in the first place. And then obviously Hancock got hold of it and seemed to just go after footballers, but nobody else. So it's a tough one, because the moral side of it is like, well, does Harry Kane need 600 grand a month or whatever? But then, while someone who's on £1,500 a month.
I think a lot's been made in the last few days about Mesut Ozil. I think he's refused to. Do you think that? Roy Keane's, he's come out and he's said that obviously he's got experience of it. And think about Roy Keane, there was a player who never had an agent.
No,
he always had his solicitor. He probably thought he knew what he was worth. Slightly different time as well. Didn't have to worry about image rights and that kind of thing. But he obviously feels like once you open that door, then you become. It becomes almost like on the players then.
But isn't this what the PFA was saying? And they were criticised for this the other week when they said nobody take a pay cut because he's setting a dangerous precedent going forward. I mean, what's your thoughts?
To be honest, I think he's right in what he's saying.
Okay.
Because I completely disagree with footballers giving their money to in some kind of staged pack to charity. The more this situation's going on, the more I feel I'm getting more angry with the amount of pressure that's putting on people to prop up institutions that other people should be propping up, or that we already prop up. And so part of me feels like Roy Keane is... What I mean by that is, I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. What I mean is that once you sort of become once you start sort of saying we're going to have this pact, and then one person might disagree, then the light is then shone on that one person. Whereas, do you know what I mean? It's like all...
Someone hung Mesut's out to dry, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. It becomes this all or nothing mentality, and he becomes a bad guy. Whereas I think what Roy Keane is saying, who's to say that Mesut isn't taking a big proportion of his wages and donating it to wherever?
Well, we've had someone come out yesterday and named all the things that he does.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Feeds X amount of kids.
Who's to say Mesut isn't saying, right, I pay tax in this country, so therefore you're getting
40%.
You're getting my tax money. So see all this money, I'm actually going to send this to kids in Germany or kids in Turkey, let's say, right? Yeah. Because he might say, well, hang on, I'm paying 40% tax in this country that's supposed to go to the NHS and you know, everything else, and then I'm paying. And then I'm doing my part by looking after these people who are, you know, in my homeland or Germany or Turkey or whatever. And then I'm sort of being forced into doing this thing because it's become this, holy and thou.
Yeah, I think for me, the NHS stuff, I think is the best thing we've got in this country by a mile. It's the beacon of this country. The other stuff, whatever, it shouldn't need propping up. Everything should be put into it. It should be getting made better. There should be more resources. There should be more nurses, more doctors. It should be a lot better, and it could be a lot better if we stop pissing money away on other stuff and stop trying to cut it and actually start protecting it. There's enough money in the country. Don't care what anybody says. The government has enough money to sort it out. End of story. That's one argument. That's one thing. Could we have a comic relief day? I don't disagree with that. No, you do.
No, to be honest, there was one on last night, and it was the money wasn't for the NHS. It was for it was for the charities of children in need and comic relief. And that's fine. That isn't NHS. That's not going to the NHS.
Yeah, but what I was saying was I don't mind having one for the NHS, but it shouldn't be where it shouldn't be at the expense of, meaning that the Tories or Labour or whoever's in power can go, well, it's all right because they get 100 million off that TV show, so we don't need to put it in there. Back to the football thing. Hancock was saying the pay cut to put into the NHS or whatever. The pay cut to in Germany, and Barcelona have done this. Barcelona have took a 70% pay cut, by the way, their players. Yeah. But the 70% pay cut is to prop the club up.
Yeah.
The staff.
That's
right, and that's my argument with Spurs. My argument isn't those players should take a pay cut to give to the government, right? Because you've just nailed it. They pay tax which goes to the NHS, so they're already... Wayne Rooney said this the other week. It's all right. Wayne Rooney said, I can give money up quite easily. But what about a lad who's 18, 19, who might be driving around in a big car that maybe he can only just afford because he's just broke in? You're asking him to give it up. All of a sudden he can't afford his car. I'm not saying that's right.
No, but someone like Matty Longstaff at Newcastle, it's been reported this week he's on £850 a week, right? Which is a lot. Listen, that's a lot of money. To us, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for us it'd be incredible.
But if he's what I mean, but you got to look at it like this, like you've just said. He might have a car, right?
That's $1,000 a month.
That's like yeah. And he might, and he used to say he's like he hasn't bought his mum a house.
Yeah.
And he hasn't, and at the moment it's on a mortgage. He'll pay that mortgage off once he gets a nice new contract, and he's got an apartment. Like you just said, he's got an apartment, and suddenly you're looking at it going, well, he has those things because he's a footballer, of course he does. Why wouldn't you? But the first thing you might buy something for your mum and like a nice house and go,
of course, yeah.
That's I can afford the mortgage, and then when I get a new big contract, I'll pay that off. Yeah. Right? Well, suddenly someone goes,
you haven't got the contract yet, have you?
No, that's what I'm saying. Contract? And then someone says to you, well, actually we want 30% of your wages, and it becomes this group pact thing, and suddenly you don't do because you go, at the moment I can't actually afford that.
It makes a difference.
And there's some, and I'm not saying that like he can, because I think I'm picking on him because I think his money, he's had his money published because he is giving money to charity. But I'm just saying, you shine a light on that player. But I think what Keane's saying, just getting away from that, is that he's mentioned the top clubs, because what he's saying is how do we know where that money's going? How do you know where that money's going? And you know, we had a discussion about this about 2 weeks ago, and we were saying when Tottenham were furloughing their players, their staff, Liverpool, Newcastle are still furloughing, aren't they? Till whether or not the deal goes through, I'm sure it will. But that's something that if the owner says you know, I mean, I don't think Spurs or Liverpool should have furloughed anyway. Simple, because they're owned by billionaires. So,
but they're looking at it from a business.
From aspect. A business point of view, they'll look at it,
and the governments are paying for it. Then why would?
So then, if players want to get together and say, "Well, if we take a 5%, 10% pay cut, we can help everyone else at the club." But as long as the people at the top do that as well, Levy and
that's where my thing is. If do it to help the people in your club, that's what I'm saying. And this is what, like I said, Barcelona have done it with 70%, but because it's to prop their club up. The people who were there are seeing, so I can't even remember. It's someone in this club, in this country, though, saying, "Yeah, we should," because people in the ticket office and people like that, they're there all the time. We should be doing it as players. I can't remember who it was. So you know, but I know, and that I was like, yeah, that's the exact attitude. Not saying I'm on 100 grand a week, like 20 grand a week. Man, give it to, well, it wouldn't be, because they take 40% straight off the bat, the government. So cut me again and give that to the nurses. No, but if I can give £2,000 of my wages a month, £10,000 of my wages a month for 3 ticket office staff or whatever, for staff to keep them able to feed their families, then I'd do it as a footballer. I'd go, you know what, it's only going to be for a few months. I'm prepared to help someone else.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because the players have set up this fund, and I think they've set it up through the PFA.
Yeah, they have,
so no money comes out of the club. Out of the clubs, the clubs aren't taking any money off them. They're paying separately, and they're going to send that. That's going to go to wherever it goes. Charity. They've decided that. I think the Metatarsa one is an Arsenal one, isn't it? Of taking the pay cut.
Taking the pay cut, yeah.
So Metatarsa might have paid into that other one, and then suddenly he's given money somewhere else.
He might have 5 members of staff who he loves at the club, and he might be like, "I'll pay your wages. Don't worry." Privately, might he? I'm just saying. I don't know. You just seen it the other day, and you see 350 grand a week won't take a pay cut, and you go, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know, a pay cut that he wouldn't miss. It's like, what, you still get 300 grand a week before tax, obviously. So in your mind, you go, fuck's sake, that's terrible. It gets greedy, that, when there's people
But it's a headline, isn't it?
And it's a headline.
Just a headline.
But then I suppose when you step away from it and you go, well, hang on, he probably does do a lot of stuff. Are they paid too much? Of course they are. But that's not their fault. If someone's prepared to give you that money, you take it. But like I say, for me, they should be, without question, propping up the rest of the club, in my opinion. I don't know how that works as a model, how you do it. And if you said to a few of those players, listen, you know, if you give me 10%...
All right, well, let me ask you this.
Hang on. If I come to you and you were on 100 grand a week at Everton, and I went, Ped, listen, if you give up 10 grand of your wages a week or whatever, well, you can keep 5 members of staff.
Well, let me ask you this question then, right? Richard Branson, does he turn round to his pilots and say, you've got to take a pay cut so all the air hostesses or hosts go to work?
Well, he should do, yeah.
But he doesn't, does he?
Well, no, but
they're clearly the high. No, that's what I'm saying. They're the highest paid people. That's what I'm saying. No one's asking those people, are they, to do that? An investment banker, no one's saying you should have 10% less of your wages so that the people who are at the bottom. That's what I'm saying. There's companies all over the place that are furloughing, but nobody's asked those companies, the highest paid people, to furlough. It just seems to be a football thing where owners seem to be able to get away with the idea of everyone needs to take a pay cut for everyone else. It's just a weird dynamic, isn't it?
No.
I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong. What I'm saying is it's just a weird dynamic that football falls into this category that, like nobody else. And it's a very strange. I don't quite understand why it's the only, and these people are normally just like working class lads who've done well for themselves, and yet the burden and the expectation falls on them. It's such a strange thing I find with football.
It is. It's difficult to. It's difficult to work out what would be the best way, because I don't know the ins and outs and the intricacies of their contracts and the morality side of it is. But I think if you sat all the players down and were like, look, if we do this all together, we can save people's jobs here within this environment, within this football club. I think the majority would go, yeah. But it would, for me, it would have to be comparable. So obviously.
But I think Roy Keane's argument is, why should footballers take a... No, but what I'm saying is, why should footballers take a cut when the owner isn't willing to cut into his wealth?
Yeah, no, but he should.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, the owner should, of course he should, without a shadow. But some owners will say they don't take money out the club. But obviously, you know what I mean? They don't take a wage. Well, they do, obviously. But some will say they don't. It's hard. It's really hard because it's again. I get the pay cut thing and I understand it. Yeah. If it's to sustain your football club.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the people in the club who have to go home and feed their families. You'll never see 350 grand probably in the life, let alone in a week. So if I'm on 300 grand a week because I'm a talented footballer and I can save 5 box office staff members, say, then I will do it. Now he might do that himself anyway. I don't know,
but I just find it. Personally strange. I know if it can help, like a club like Burnley, that would. It's just when you think about it, what Keane's saying is, he's saying United, the Glazers are sitting there. Let's say,
yeah, of course,
all that money, and yet the burden again falls on the players. Joe Lewis at Tottenham, he's a multi-billionaire, and then but it's like, no, don't shine the light on me, shine it on the players. Oh, Harry Kane won't take a pay cut. And it's like, you know, Cronkite at Arsenal. Metaceres was probably sitting there going, hang on, you're a billionaire. Why am I taking a pay cut when you've got to save you money? Why am I supposed to go without what I'm earning when you're not going without and you own the club? So the expectation falls on you. The burden falls on you because you're the owner. You know, like within Branson,
I get it.
Branson's a great example. He keeps on moaning, crying.
Well, he's the worst one, but Virgin aren't even registered in this
country. So he's going, you know, cap and answer the government about money, saying, "Oh, we have to." When it comes to the actual crunch, it ain't going to happen. He ain't gonna. So that's what makes you laugh more than anything else. So I can fully understand where Roy Keane's coming from. I just think that and he's saying right what he said about the media. The media can shape it in a way where they can make people look like villains if they want to. But the real villains should be the people who are behind the scenes, who have got all this money, who are pointing fingers to distract people away from them. So
it's totally. You're right, and it is a deflection thing, isn't it? Deflected away from what I'm saying, and I understand what Keane's saying. You don't want to set a precedent. Where's the money going? What's it for? Why are they being highlighted? But I think my belief personally is the whole club should come to some agreement to save people losing their jobs who've got families who are on. And it's difficult once you start factoring in match day staff and all. Of course it is, but
I think, just to reiterate, it's just, I find it strange that they're becoming they're made to look like the villains when the person at the top
I agree with
isn't willing to take.
I do agree with that. Well, they should really, what is it going to cost? I'd be interested to know how much it will cost those people for the months that this is going on. And if it ends up, that's what I'm saying. If it ends up being 15 million quid, so be it.
I just find it, again, this narrative of working class lads who've done well for themselves should bear the responsibility of billionaires. I just find it, again, very strange that billionaires are getting away with stuff again all the time. It sees to be them getting away with stuff. So
no.
Anyway, listen, let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Roy Keane's comments? Do you think the burden should fall on the players? Do you think the players have done enough? Do you think they should take pay cuts? Or under what circumstances should they take pay cuts? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you check out yesterday's video, which was about
Yesterday's video was about... Sorry, Andy Grace was messaging me and I'm trying to... I can't even remember what was yesterday's video about?
Can't remember. It's right down there.
That's scandalous. Oh, yesterday's video was about how to finish the league.
Yeah.
And you know what? A few people in the comments were spot on, right?
Yeah.
And just...
Okay.
I've got to go. But basically, it won't make any difference.
All right.
Just the top and bottom.
Make sure you subscribe, give this video a like, and if you want more great videos, catch us on Patreon. Links in the description. See you later.